I'm going to read this as if I'm criticizing your book, as I've read many people criticize it. You're very harsh to the people you call infernalists, and that makes you unloving, making the arguments less effective as well. Why do that?
That's not true. I'm sorry. I mean, that's an inept reading of the book. The book doesn't speak about any persons in a dismissive way at all. I'm quite clear about that. It's the actual notion that we've all accepted at one time or another that I'm harsh about. But as for those who hold to these beliefs with a very small, except for a small number that I do admit that I've met who do actually rejoice in the thought. I mean, there are those. And towards them, I'm somewhat harsh. I mean, I describe them as wanting to live in gated communities so that they can stare out at the unfortunate. But if you actually look at the book, there is, again and again, I've had people say that, you know, I accuse people of being moral imbeciles, except that phrase appears nowhere in the book. Again and again, I've had phrases attributed to me and to that text that aren't there. But I think what happens is when you're candid about how horrible the teaching is and what damage it has done, it forces persons to examine their own consciences with regard to what they have made themselves accept and told themselves they had to accept. And then, in a sense, suppressed. In a sense, you know, that decision becomes a sort of existential threshold at the back of their mind that they passed long ago, and they don't want to have to revisit. They don't want to have to open that door again. And if you make them do that, they get very angry. And so the book, it's funny, those who agree with me more or less in principle heard a completely different voice. They see it as passionate, compassionate. I was shocked to see some review in a British journal describe it as warm. And even I wouldn't go that far. With people who don't, and people who feel they must, come hell or high water, believe in eternal torment, hear an accusation being made against them and others, but the accusation isn't there in the text. The harsh language is used of the teaching, but it's made clear, I make it repeatedly clear, no one in particular is responsible. We've all allowed ourselves to be taken along the path of bad premises and bad conclusions to accept something that in our heart of hearts we know to be false, and we all have to repent of it.